Okay, here we are back in Modo, and if you've got these guys up here and that's all you have, what's that, 6 windows, we are looking for our UV window, and so this is like starred only, which means show only the starred lays laid out. It's only the fabulous starred ones. I don't know who starred them, it wasn't me. I like to see the unstars of the world. Here we go, which is my UV. Now I guess I could click this and make it a starred one. Yes, I can, and then hit only starred ones, and now UV is a part of my stars. How nice. You can create your own stars if you'd like. I'm going to the UV palette here, Shift A, center this. So like I said, it would be better for us to UV map this pear. Remember, we're going to create a texture map in Photoshop off of those UVs, and it would be better if this wasn't distorted, like we didn't bend the stem out and everything. If we UV it first and then alter the shape, will be better for us. So over here we have UV maps listed. So we have properties. This talks about our scene. Channels, you'll never need to know about that working with me. And lists, here's our UV map. We have an existing one. Every object we make gets an existing map. We can't use this map. It doesn't really tell us enough about this object for us to use in Photoshop, so it's not helpful. So I'm gonna just say new map. I'm gonna call it pear map for obvious reasons. There it is. It comes in blank. And now if you remember, we did a little double click here on that guy, and you gotta pivot around to the bottom. Hold your shift button down. You got to shift and double click on that guy. And then we're just going to take and make a seam here. This one, and we're going to make a little seam all the way up until it connects. All right, so can you see that, everybody? Remember, pause, rewind until you get it. A little loop at the bottom, a little line that follows it up, a little loop. Hold your shift button down until you get those selected. If you have other stuff selected, you're going to screw it up. So just make sure you get the selection right. And I'm going to hit the unwrap tool, click here in the middle. And it should, there it is, should unwrap for us. And then I like to make sure, because a lot of times, yeah, I don't know why, it turns it upside down. I get my Y key, I'm going to spin it around. Set that right there, but it's nice and looks pretty relaxed. This is the stem. I want this to project from view, not from view, sorry, just project, and on the X, and then R key, and I'm just going to grab this little button here and scale that down. Y key and move it up here. That's our stem. This is the little, it's a little butt dot thing there, call it what you'd like. That goes about something like this, and I'm gonna use my R key and just kind of scale this up a little bit, make it fit. I want it to fit this section. It's just as big as we can make it. And sometimes I like to come over here and just do a relax and just make sure that this looks is relaxed. I don't know, do I like it better? Nah, I'm not gonna relax it. I will not relax you. You are fine the way you are. So remember, these correspond to the shapes on our pear. There they are. And then I'm going to go back to model view. And oh, if you didn't know that, if you are in a particular view and you hit this double arrow, it'll be just that view. So that's great. If you want to do something very particular and specific in one view, up and close, and then you can hit this little yellow highlighted arrow and it'll jump you back to your 4 views. Alright, so now we're going to use our T key, the letter T. It's an element move tool. It will move various elements. T key, and I'm going to just kind of shift some stuff up here and make some adjustments on the pear. Make it look a little bit more natural. That's all. Remember to do multiple sides, otherwise it's only kind of adjusted on one side, which would not really be natural at all. Okay, so I'm kind of doing something like that. I'm going to actually grab a whole section here. I'm going to hit my Y key and just kind of give it a little twist. in one direction, and then shift up arrow, get more selected, turn it that way. That looks a little bit more natural to that stem. I'm gonna get real crazy here and grab this little dot and just kind of tuck that in a little bit, kind of flatten that out and a little bit. Instead it's so like puffy and inflated, I want it to look more like it's kind of dented, you know, a little more pulled off there. What else? Back to the T key, and maybe I'll just kind of like drag a couple other little. So you got to move around in your spaces, right? And look at where they. Here's a perfect example. Everything else is starting to look pretty natural, but look at from the top. From the top, everything is still like a perfect circle. That is not natural. So there. So now just kind of whack this stuff out. Don't go too crazy, just enough to make it look something that you might find in nature. And that's good enough. And now Command S to save, right? Command S, save your work. And the last thing we have to do is we have to send our UV map. We have to send it out to Photoshop so that we can create our UV maps. So I'm going to go to Texture, export UVs to EPS. And we come up with an option here. I'm putting mine in my 3D scenes. You can guess. I will name it Pear map. Sometimes I name it Pear texture or whatever. It doesn't really, you know, whatever. So as long as you know what it is that you're trying to do. -20. I think I already made one the other day, but let's just go with this. Oh, because I had fruit maps 20. Yeah, well, sure, we'll put it in there. Save. This bound size 2048. Those are pixels. That is a perfectly acceptable and usable boundary size. I'll say OK to that. And that is the end of step 2.